Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. It is going to be the undercard of Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira fighting for the middleweight belt, which is obviously going to be an entertaining one. But I think this one has a lot of potential to be a really good co-main event. Since 2018, Gilbert Burns has only lost to Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman. But, the Kamaru Usman fight's definitely one you have to think about when it comes to him, getting to the top three, getting that title shot again. Now, even if Gilbert Burns focuses on the ground and the takedown, you still have to watch out for Jorge Masvidal. I think he does have a lot of good takedown defense, and you cannot forget about the Ben Askren knockout. Like, come on, guys. That was an absolutely phenomenal knockout. It cannot be described as a better finish in the first 10 seconds it was, 5 seconds it was. So I think it's absolutely crucial for Gilbert Burns to be watching out for some move that Jorge Masvidal might have in his freaking tool belt. All right? Woo! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Kevin Hoop Show. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And today we are talking about Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. He's back. It's been a minute. It's been about a year, but he's back. Gilbert Burns with the quick turnaround. I'm liking it. I saw him in the press conference after his last win over Neil Magny, and he talked about being a champ. He talked about how he really thought he should have had someone harder and was calling people out, and we're about to get into who he's been calling out. Before that, though, I want to talk about some recent events that have been going on, and that's with Jorge Masvidal. He's been talking the smack. He's back, but he's talking the smack. And with that, he's been talking on the Ariel Helwani MMA Hour about how Gilbert Burns wants to fight for the BMF belt. And Jorge Masvidal's like, nah, bro, this ain't it. This ain't the fight. You're not going to bring the money, which I think kind of showed me that the only way that belt's going to come out again is if the money is there. I think that Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz at the time were probably one of the two biggest draws of the sport at the time, just because of how Jorge Masvidal was rising at the time, and the fights that he was winning were just unbelievable at the time, which you got to tip it. Absolutely, the dude was impressive. A point I want to bring up, though, about the BMF belt is when he won that against Nate Diaz, that is the last time that we've really seen him actually win a fight. He's had 3 fights since then, but since that fight, he has not won a fight. And now he's on that 3-fight losing streak going into this, and he's got 1 year off, which I think is a little bit something you got to take into factor in this fight, because there might be some ring rust. He is 37. He is getting up there in age a little bit. And how are we going to see Jorge Masvidal after we haven't seen a good Jorge Masvidal in the past? Now, his last fight was with Colby Covington. And if you guys don't remember that fight, there was the most amount of hype around that. Maybe not hype, but beef between two fighters. He absolutely got demolished in all 5 rounds, in my opinion. I don't think he won a single round. And after that, he goes and sucker punches him. And in my opinion, that's just the biggest bitch move you could make. Like, how are you going to do something like that after you had the chance? He had the chance for 5 freaking rounds, and he didn't capitalize on it. And then he goes out at the bar that Colby Covington's at celebrating, obviously, not really caring about his surroundings, and the dude sucker punches him. Like, what the fuck? Apparently, Colby Covington has actually had some recent brain damage. Now, that might be because of the court case, or who knows why he's saying that. But, if he actually does have some real serious damage, I know he got a tooth chipped, which everyone has seen the pictures of that. But, if he actually got some serious brain damage, that's some serious shit that I would think Jorge Masvidal has to think about. Now, since that fight, Jorge Masvidal actually has been ranked 11 now. Now, there's been other recent fights where other people have been passing him, and other people have been kind of, trying to get their chance, like Neil Magny against Gilbert Burns, which I thought Gilbert Burns had a great freaking showing. The dude was phenomenal. It was within the first 45 seconds he got the submission, which was absolutely beautiful. I loved it. It was in Brazil. He had an absolutely great time. He was funny in the press conference as well. Absolutely great performance from Gilbert Burns. Now, after that, he was talking some smack, saying, yo, I need to fight someone that's ranked, top 5, top 10 at least, because I think Neil Magny was ranked around 12 at the time. Probably going to be ranked a little lower after that. Maybe he'll stay around 12, but at least, I think he might go down 1 or 2. But after that, he was talking really about Belal Muhammad, who is on the Joe Rogan Experience recently. And Belal Muhammad didn't mention Gilbert Burns once of one of the guys that he wants to face. and these guys are ranked 4 and 5 right there. And Gilbert Burns doesn't understand how Belal Muhammad got above him without fighting someone that was above him, which Belal Muhammad hasn't. So, Belal Muhammad beats Sean Brady and gets all the way ranked 4, which I think was pretty crazy in my opinion, but the rankings are what the rankings are. One interesting statistic I want to talk about is in the last 5 years, since 2018, Gilbert Burns has only lost to Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman. And Khamzat Chimaev can, debatedly be fighting at freaking middleweight, possibly even fucking light heavyweight. So I think and then he's been looking like absolutely phenomenal with his grappling. So I don't think that that's, the biggest loss that you have to really sweat over. But, the Kamaru Usman fight's definitely one you have to think about when it comes to him, getting to the top 3, getting that title shot again. And, obviously we have the Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman fight scheduled for March. So, something might happen after this fight with the winner of this fight and the winner of that fight. You do not know, folks, but you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Another thing I want to talk about with Gilbert Burns is his fight against Wonderboy recently. Now, I didn't really expect him to focus too much on the striking. He actually ended up outstriking him 109-59. I had to double look at it real quick just to make sure I was, speaking the correct statistics. But I thought that was pretty impressive, basically almost doubling Wonderboy's striking, which is pretty impressive from a kickboxer like Wonderboy, who's one of the top kickboxers, if not the top kickboxer in the UFC right now. So maybe other than Alex Pereira. But either way, that fight would probably be good if they were actually close in fucking weight. Either way, though, I think that win over Wonderboy is going to give Gilbert Burns a big advantage over Jorge Masvidal in this fight happening in April. I might have forgot to mention this. It's April 8th, UFC 287. It is going to be the undercard of Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira fighting for the middleweight belt, which is obviously going to be an entertaining one. But I think this one has a lot of potential to be a really good co-main event. So hopefully they deliver. Now, even if Gilbert Burns focuses on the ground and the takedown, you still have to watch out for Jorge Masvidal. I think he does have a lot of good takedown defense, and you cannot forget about the Ben Askren knockout. Like, come on, guys, that was an absolutely phenomenal knockout. It cannot be described as a better finish in the first 10 seconds it was, 5 seconds it was. So I think it's absolutely crucial for Gilbert Burns to be watching out for some move that Jorge Masvidal might have in his freaking tool belt. All right. Either way, though, I think if Gilbert Burns does these things, I do believe he's going to come out with a W on April 8th. So tune in on this weekend, actually, for Lewis versus Bivavic. Probably butchered that last name. Sorry, dude. But you've got a little bit of a hard pronunciation. I'm just terrible with names. That's also my fault. But tune into the watch party this Saturday. It's going to be a little late, but 1 a.m. we're going to be going live. Tune in. The Kevin Hoop Show.